Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with what should be the 13th episode of The Bright Young Thing, playing as David Ellison. Now, I know I start every week with some announcements, and this time I'm definitely going to need a little help on this. So I have now completely upgraded my computer. That's going to mean that there's a dedicated recording setup for Cultist Simulator, which is nice. But one drawback here is that I have lost all of the settings. In fact, I've even lost all of the videos for the series. That's why I'm a little uncertain about the title. So now is a particularly good time to let me know about some settings. I have changed a couple of things which should be improving the video quality in very small ways, but particularly with regards to things such as levels for audio, whether the game is overpowering my voice, whether my voice is too loud. All of these sorts of things are things that I'm working on, and it's obviously my job to put together a good show for all of you, but I have tended to find that people are usually pretty good at letting me know if the settings are out of whack. So I apologize for putting that on you and giving you a minute to deal with things that aren't Cultist Simulator. But if you'd like to keep some, keep the videos coming along at a quality that works for you, that would be something I would really appreciate some help with. The other thing that I'm going to need to do, because it has been quite a week for me, is to see where we're at, because certainly I was not thinking about Cultist Simulator things. I believe these are my own work. So I think what was happening here was I was starving the painting because of the need for mystique. Now I do have the restlessness to deal with, but I do have a fascination, which means that I can let this decay into dread. That explains why everything's set up that way. We don't have enough for the very substantial edge study, so we can't do anything about that. Okay, I think I more or less know how we're approaching this. So we let the mystique either decay or get picked up as part of the investigation. We annihilate the fascination through our restlessness. We've got another season of Visions coming up, but we don't need to worry too much about that. We will avoid hiring the bomb maker because we're still trying to avoid notoriety. We're reading whatever's to hand. We're finding the stag door. This patron is, in this case, because we found a patron, it's just going to be a rumor which we can't follow up on. And I think we're going to cool it a little bit for finding recruits. What I'll maybe just do is I'll do a couple of the ceremonies to bring them in. And then we'll see where the rest takes us. So it's going to be a little bit of waiting at the start, but I think we should be able to get by. I will also just mention this will be relevant for Wednesday's Wednesday's recording, or the recording that will be coming out on Wednesday. But I'm probably going to have to do 2 batches of videos, so I'm trying to be a little more careful in not spending too much time babbling about this stuff, because I know I'm probably going to need to do another review. All right, so one thing that we're sort of pivoting towards right now is I don't have any books that I can read. Again, we're keeping the weary detective on occupied with mystique, but what we really want to do is just have the season of suspicion go away entirely. And the reason we want to do that is because the way for me to get additional books will be by going on expeditions. We have a lot of them available to us. We've got a team that's going to be able to do these sorts of things, but very few of them are actually a member of the Mirror of Glory. So that's going to be what we work on first, and that's going to be basically turning everybody who is an acquaintance into a believer. And in fact, I'm going to start with Neville, because we had a couple of opportunities where I was looking for a Nock follower. We didn't bring Neville in. We were working on that at some point, but I got cold feet, or I got lazy. So in this case, we are now going to bring Neville into the Mirror of Glory. Neville pauses before he speaks and flinches easily. He laughs whenever he thinks you've made a joke. And we don't need to get too fancy with this. We'll just take the Mantis clips. This one is ready. The words contain knowledge, now I contain it. It's a little like theft, and a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. And I think the thing that I was working on as well that I didn't talk about before was leveling up the different types of lore. So Moth is our best bet right now, but I wouldn't have been going for erudition if I was trying to raise the Moth. So would that mean I'm trying to advance... I guess that would mean I'm advancing the Ardent Orison then. I wonder why I didn't do anything with the Moth. Very few know that smiths and murderers speak the same prayers. I will examine those prayers. I suppose there's the possibility that I was looking to level something up other than the Forge, but I don't see why I would use... I could level up the Winter, but I don't need the Winter, Yeah, we'll figure it out. Better not. I must be careful of the company I keep. So we're just trying to preserve the Percussagant here, so we'll just send them out on another expedition. Or not expedition, another explore. I don't have any specific hopes for it. A dozen lights blaze. There is no place for shadow in these rites, and no place for mercy. Neville pauses before he speaks and flinches easily. He is sensitive to deeper matters. Okay, so we've got a few believers here, but Eau Claire is the next one. I think we'll just do this in order. So Eau Claire has a scholarly aspect and a morbid streak. So in this case, we'll grab... Oh, you know what? I was probably going to move up the Mantis Glimpse. That's why. All right. Well, it's obviously occupied now, so we can put it towards other things. In fact, it occurred to me I probably could use the Restlessness in the ceremony along with the next level of Lantern. I don't recall... I guess that's... Let's run with the Forgotten Chronicle. If nothing else, it keeps me from getting nasty stuff in the Painted River. Last night, Gearby was talkative. He spoke in his siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. A story of a city without a gate, of a queen who was not born, of a war that was not fought. So yes, we are looking for some more locations on the continent. This will help me out. And we'll do the same thing again. We have another season of ambitions coming up. So this was the dread to... this is the dread to tranquilize the season of visions. It wouldn't be a bad idea for me to try and level up the Lantern. Whether or not I can make that all turn out in time, though, is another question. Alright. Timings on these aren't great. A dozen lights blaze. There is no place for shadow in these rites, and no place for mercy. Eau Claire is quiet, meticulous, and remorseless. So let's just think for a second here. Is there a way for me to be able to get this Mantis Glimpse leveled up before using it in... well, no, I've got an erudition sitting around here. So what else can I use for... I can use my reason. Eldridge, an elegant man of inelegant habits. You may be able to recruit this acquaintance as a follower. Oh, you know what? It's not an... Oh, no, hang on. Yep, that counts as trappings, so this one is ready. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in odd corners of scholarship. Provide erudition or use a library. Right, because I hadn't used the erudition as an input yet. Alright, well... Probably doesn't turn out, but we'll see what time brings. We're definitely not going to use it in a painting, so it's either in an initiation ceremony, or it's in yeah, actually I guess that's the only option. And another season of ambition coming up as well, so Eldridge has almost learnt not to pick his teeth with his knife in conversation. He has not yet learned to leave his knife in his boot. So, I do at some point want to bring these Mantis Glimpses together. Light in the Skull is very unlikely to trigger, but I can at least use the reason to try and bring bring some people in. So we've got a few believers hanging around. Let's get Porter up next. Porter was a barber until the court case. This one is ready. Got 1 minute to sort this out. So essentially, unless I can somehow wind up with an erudition from something else, I'm just not getting the next or like I'm just using it as a standard input. Let's go to the Painted River on the chance it's got the secret history. Nice. It's a bit epic. Stag door opens. There's a great chamber in the manses through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly, there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. So that'll come in handy a bit later, but I don't think we're going to use that for the lands beyond the forest. We're still working on the continent. What it does do, though, is it does free up the 2 Forgotten Chronicles because I have something to use as an input for Dr. Adim's works now. Okay, so just taking stock again. There's nothing to prevent me from going through the stag door, so we're going to keep working with that. I do want an erudition. The potential for an erudition's coming from going through the stag door and then also bringing people in using lantern. But doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. So yeah, this one's going to get used in... this one's going to get used to bring someone into the Mirror of Glory. But then we do have another Season of Ambitions coming up, and that we might be able to bring the erudition up. Now I understand. Okay, so... Dozen lights blaze, there is no place for shadow in these rites, and no place for mercy. Porter plies his razor and his scissors to the great advantage of his friends. On to Cat Caro. Cat Caro, as she styles herself, earns a living as a stage medium and a fortune teller. She may have deeper talents. So, once again, we take the Mirror of Glory. This time we're going to use the Restlessness as an input, because there's really nothing else that I can use it for. And again, the idea would be that we can get this up to level 6, and then we would be at level 8 by the time we combine that with the Mantis Glimpse, which may not actually get us anywhere, but it's nice to give it a shot. Okay, Season of Visions is coming up, so I want to be careful. We have hit this wonderful point, though, where we'll give it another minute or so. But then we don't need to worry about generating notoriety for a bit. I've increased my mastery of the lore that burns, which we call by its aspect Forge. Okay, we don't have the Restlessness yet, but I think I'm out of luck as far as being able to level up the Mantis Glimpse. So really, it was just a kind of a bonehead move on my part for not focusing on this, but it is because I was bringing someone into the cult that I wasn't paying attention. The world is awash with printed words. Even the newspaper contained knowledge sometimes. And a dozen lights blaze. There is no place for shadow in these rites, and no place for mercy. Cat Caro, a bright-eyed, watchful woman who recalls her dreams perfectly. So even if we generate a light in the skull at this point, it's a bit late for me to try and bring in the Mantis Glimpse. But on the other hand, I also don't want to just roll over and say, well, there's no point in doing anything. So first of all, shaping chant. The proper words must be employed when the change comes. Use this in a rite with knock influence and a bone flute, or other resources of equal power to summon a Callagine. So again, I will try working on the Mantis Glimpse, but we're going to need to wait at least a minute for that. So we keep moving on. In this case, Tristan. Tristan dislikes distractions. Tristan gets things done. Mirror of Glory. And once again, we employ our reason. This one is ready. We'll grab the Forgotten Chronicle again. One, we have the worry about the Season of Visions. But number two, I do actually need to find those locations on the continent. So last night, Gerby was talkative. He spoke in a siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. Okay. So I'm running short on reason, but we should still be able to keep a pretty decent rotation going. And in this case, I suspect it's going to be a very tight window, but or no, 19 seconds? Yeah, we're fine. But again, it doesn't really mean anything as far as the Mantis glimpse is concerned. Although we may be able to bring Cat Carol up to a disciple. Dozen lights blaze. There is no place for shadow in these rites and no place for mercy. Now, one other consideration I may have is that the weary detective is done looking for me. And I do have a staleness to get rid of. So other than the fact that this is kind of playing with fire, because the danger, of course, is that I get a fascination for doing this kind of painting, but I am actually gonna... Oop. Sorry, there's still tasks I want to do. I am actually going to do a painting to get rid of the restlessness. I probably should have waited a little bit longer, but too late now. Pope Clifton, an acquaintance, a bellowing and unorthodox Catholic with a mystic streak and an untrimmed beard. This one is ready. Once again, we're not handing in the commissions quite yet because of the Perils of Renown, but that's going to expire in a little bit. Not expire. Pass by. And looks like I'm still want to keep an eye on my health. We're not paying for paints because we're working on the... we're working on getting rid of the staleness. And we're not buying the... hireling. Okay, let's grab the Mantis glimpses. So there is a proverb among practitioners of the invisible arts. Glory visits the house without walls. I would like to know about glory. I am a bit worried about the time for this painting. Okay, that might be helpful. The painted river runs from a great chamber near the white door, far through the Mantis, to its far edge, where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind, and all the while the captain and I discoursed of the secrets of the House of the Sun. So again, same story as before. At some point we do need to worry about my health, but I'm gonna press ahead. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The heart Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. And we've got Pope Clifton in here now. Now Clifton improves new prayers rich with solar metaphors. He still shouts like a soldier and drinks like a sailor. Now, if I wanted, I could use the lesson learned as an input, but that feels like a waste of a perfectly good influence. So in this case here, we will we'll still employ reason. It'd be nice if I had a way of using heart for something like this, just because it would be, it would be nice to try and get a course of the heart and not have to worry about the sickness. But I'm probably going to wind up using the study slot for that at some point. Anyways, let's bring Rose in. Although technically I could afford... No, let's not risk anything. I was going to say, technically I could afford to try and bring in... even if there's a... Well, I guess if I wind up with the mistaken identity and it was passion, then that means I don't have any other characters to bring in. So, anyways. Rose is a Slimus, and she recognizes you as someone uncommon. All that I am is here. I think we'll escape the Suppression Bureau, but I'm feeling really... Yeah, we're good. This is something special. It may provoke a reaction. My recent work has attracted a couple of callers. With luck, something will sell. Well, it didn't really sell all that well, but we did get some contentment for that, which is good. We wound up with a little extra mystique. Now, that didn't get picked up right away by the Suppression Bureau slot because it's looking for something else. So once you move on to considering the evidence, it's still a magnet slot, but it's looking for one of the two types of evidence in that case. If a hunter has found notoriety, they will use it to create or upgrade evidence. If they're meticulous, they'll always succeed. If they're erratic, they're more likely to fail. They can occasionally create evidence even without notoriety. So we're going to be a little short on things to paint about. I might want to take the opportunity to use this glimmering to level up the moth when I can, but essentially once I've got 3 passion, we're going to do another painting. I guess it depends what the subject is, but probably something heart. And or actually, there's a couple things I can do to enhance my mystique. I can turn in with Dr. Adim and Madame Bichet now that I think of it. But yeah, it's still gonna be a little lean, but we should be able to get by. Wisdom is a country, and these are its maps. All right, a dozen lights blaze. There is no place for shadow in these rites, and no place for mercy. Rose is a Slimus, but loyal. So we will add the remaining followers, but we have a few other things that we need to do with the talk verb right now. So, for starters, let's bring in Dr. Adim's Secret Histories Commission, what the doctor requested. This, of course, would have, if I'd been thinking, this would have eliminated the need for me to. Use the study slot to get an erudition. I could have just turned in certain commissions. But then again, we weren't doing that for a while because of the Suppression Bureau, so I suppose I can forgive myself for that. I've received the currency of the secret world, and my patron has let tantalizing information slip. So, Iron Spintra. Oddly enough, this is one of the times where we want to be generating Mystique, so I'm happy about that. Also happy for the erudition, but again, it's not the sort of thing that I'm doing backflips over because we were more or less past the time that we needed it. And finally, Grail for Madame Bichet. I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and they found no new clues. So one of the questions might be, do I want to just go on one of the expeditions at this point? The Percussagent is not going to serve any purpose other than to sort of be violent. But I don't know, I feel like there's enough for us to work. Actually, with Cater and Hero, I may be short on Forge. Let's say even the Forgotten Mithraeum, unless I bring in Edid. Yeah, there's actually a little bit less available to me than I thought. St. Agnes Hospital might be good, though, because of the curse. So we'll bring the Percussagent. I'm actually going to double down on it and bring in Dorothy as well. Technically, we don't need more than one, but I'm going to add it just in case. Only echoes walk the hospital halls now, but malice lingers in the air. We must search meticulously, room by room. It's always a danger that I get this wrong here and that we're short on the people, but I think it's worth it here. All right, more Mystique. So the tricky part that I have to deal with now is, do I say, let's bring in more people right away in case we need them for the expedition? I think in this case I'm going to try and get the Course of the Heart. So talking publicly about the invisible arts will attract attention. Perhaps that's what I want. And we almost blew it with the erudition. So if I wanted to paint for Mystique, now would be a good time for it. The Forbidden Epic. There's a great chamber in the manses through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, and flecks of gold leaf when I was done. Okay. So eventually we're going to have to dream to heal, but until that happens... Now, I was just thinking about this. I can actually get away with a painting now. It's going to take more than a minute, so I think it's not a bad idea for me to do this. So the reasoning of saying I want another extra mystique for bringing someone else in, probably not the strongest argument that I can make, but I'm still okay with the fact that I'm trying to bring in more people. In my dreams, I know the path to the stag door through the maze of the bounds. Gearby will let me pass, but the path is always a puzzle. I will need reason. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head Gearby weeps to see me enter where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. I started to unpause, but then I realized I haven't got the painting started, so 3 Mystique this time. We probably won't pay for paints, but I can at least put 1 Passion in. That's going to keep me short for the talk verb if there is a new follower to bring in, but we should get these back. Yeah, we'll have these back in plenty of time. You never know, this might be a living. Now, what do we want to paint about? I can try, can try keep the erudition around for the Sexton's Secret. I was going to say I could try and paint Clovette, but Clovette doesn't help me. My heart followers are either on the expedition or not yet followers. So, well, let's try the Thunderous Secret. Esoteric art, those who know will understand, as will the Suppression Bureau. Now, I'm kind of curious what happens here, because I feel like this has changed. It's maybe creating more of a risk than I want, but probably it's not a bad idea for me to get an idea of what sorts of risks there are. I'm at a point now where I can sort of, if I do get a notoriety, I can sort of afford, yep, well, there it is. There's a few different ways that I can deal with it, so. Disease has left me weak. I will need rest and nourishment if I am to recover. And we've got the Season of Suspicion just in time. Okay. It's going to make life quite difficult for me. We are strong enough in heart to be almost entirely secure against the curse, so good call there, but it is going to have consequences. My recent work is considered notable. I've exhibited the latest paintings publicly. Surely someone will buy something. Okay, so what we want to do right now is choke the Suppression Bureau with Mystique. So we got a little too confident on our position. We maybe had a little celebration about them getting off my case, and they noticed. All right, so what are we gonna do about this? More paintings is the answer. Actually, weird. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm actually short. Oh no, here we go. Right. So I don't necessarily like the idea of extending the life of a notoriety, but I do need to get this. I do need to get a little bit more runway for my paintings. So next up we'll do, nope, can't do that. And if I had hard influence, I'd be using that to cure myself. So I think I just have to go with something else. Do a painting on a fleeting reminiscence then. Okay, glimmering apparently. Should have an impact. We still want Forgotten Chronicles, so that's helpful. Last night, Gearby was talkative. He spoke in his siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories tailed off again into weeping. So we still have a bit of time before we need to worry about the affliction. So in this case, we'll try and... There's one of two things that can happen. We can either try and earn we can try and earn a vitality, or we just try and earn enough money to be able to pay for the paints. So. What I'm most interested in, though, is to see whether or not someone comes out the other end of this thing. It'd be kind of nice if they don't, because then we can just worry about the remaining recruitment. We can pay for the paints again, I think. Our power is stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. And I've increased my mastery of the glorious lore, which we call by its aspect lantern. Mercy, saith the watchman, is found only in shadow. Okay, let's think about how I want to study. Actually, this is an easy one. We'll just do fresh air and exercise. Long walks kill cobwebs. We do have the opportunity to try and level up things like Moth, and a lot of glimmering is great for something like that, but I feel like being able to avoid some extra expenses at a time when I want to be choosy about the types of actions that I'm taking. Probably not a bad idea here. Okay, my recent work is considered notable. I've exhibited the latest paintings publicly. Surely someone will buy something. So I almost have enough passion. Once this passes, I can do a bunch of passion. That'll mean the mystique and the notoriety are all on the table at the same time. So there's the fleeting reminiscence. There's the notoriety. Yeah, so it's not the most overwhelming that I've had for the Suppression Bureau. The one thing that does make me a little sad is that we don't actually have any staleness. That's fine. We'll just wait it out a little bit here. Our expedition plans for the next challenge. It'll consume funds. I could add funds now, or I could send another follower. Okay, what have we got? Valsine! Alright, come with me. So, that's fine. So, there's a couple things that are nice about this. So, number one, more mystique for, to sort of confuse the Suppression Bureau. What we're going to do now is try and throw them off the scent with all this passion. Again, I don't have as many options as I used to when it comes to inspiration. I can't do, a heart one again unless I want to repeat past synth. But we will do glimmering because, again, that's going to be a helpful input. This should have an impact. We want to get a commission from Dr. Adi. The Painted River runs from a great chamber near the White Door, far through the Mansus, to its far edge where it enters a painted delta of far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night with a stern-faced captain beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while, the captain and I discoursed of the secrets of the House of the Sun. Okay, so I need to wait 29 seconds on the... in this one I am going to wait, although I'm probably going to be rolling over into the next video for that, so we'll see whether or not I remember. I've got 94 seconds, so it's not the end of the world if I don't manage that. And Dr. Adim would like a very substantial lantern commission, so that's actually good news for me there. In fact, that gives me a good reason to... I can do the commission and get a mystique out of that from Dr. Adim. Go! Just my luck, they grab the notoriety, so... and a substantial moth commission. So these are ones that we can achieve, but a whole reason for trying to get... mystique has basically vanished. The Violet Chamber. What was this place? The door bore no sign. There were no windows. The walls were painted rich violet. Sorry, we should read this entry before. Oh, nope. What was this place? The door bore no sign. There were no windows. The walls were painted rich violet, rich even now after the ravages of rain through a leaking ceiling. A rotting chair has leather straps on the arms. The floor is porcelain and runneled. We should be using the talk verb. So yeah, we'll bring more people in. Well, yeah, it's an interesting question. Do I bring... Yeah, I want to keep talking about the Waking Chant. Talking publicly about the invisible arts will attract attention. Perhaps that's what I want. And I've neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. All right. That's taken care of. I'm really just waiting for Colors of the Night at this point. And for study, let's start working on those upgrades. Study the lore of the wood. When the breath is black at the when the breath is black at the glass, when mist tautens the skin, when woods walk in winter, we hear these words. So we don't have a ton of glimmering. We are sort of conscious of time here, but we are going to get some back from the painting. And we've got 2 Seasons of Despair coming up, so I don't think there's much I can do unless I neglect Restlessness. There's not a lot that's going to stop us. Okay, my recent work has attracted a couple of callers. With luck, something will sell. That didn't really get me any money. Did help us with glimmering, though, so I suppose that's our future with what am I trying to say? Upgrading Moth taken care of. I will just queue up a painting right now. So in this case here, it doesn't really matter. I guess I could try and extend the mystique. Yeah, it's a tough call actually, because no, I think in this case I actually want to try and get rid of it. I didn't even think about what I want to paint. Let's do another glimmering painting. Should have an impact. And the Violet Chamber. There is a padlock cupboard in the wall. It does not long resist our strength. It contains instruments tipped with flint and glass. Instruments one would not expect a surgeon to use. It contains other matters of more of interest to us too. Okay. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out where my head's at. Let's move. I'm gonna have to move my reason up here. I think we'll just start putting the locations up here. And items, I'm gonna put them in the bottom corner like I used to, but I think I'm gonna have to come up with a better system. Rose pearl dust. Pearls are sacred to the witch and sister, especially those of this color. They have been used in protective rites, among others. Stained gloves. What uses have these known? What lessons might they teach my hands? The Locksmith's Dream, Trespasses, the 3rd volume of Teresa Galmer's examination of the parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. This will be helpful. The Rose of Hypatia, marked with the tripled sign of the arcane contemplative order known as the Sisterhood of the Knot in Greek. It's the money left over, our explorers, and the notoriety. So, I do apologize for the extended length. I think for the most part people seem to like the longer videos more than the shorter ones, but I think it's nice to be able to be reliable and have some expectations. But clearly we got through a lot here. We've brought a few new believers in. We're going to try and fill out the ranks where we can, make sure that there are people who are able to work on expeditions. What I'm probably going to want to try and do is clear out my reputation again, because we don't have a lot of good heart followers to do a good job of getting rid of that notoriety. I suppose our other alternative would be, if we feel like the Weary Detectives are really going to be causing us some trouble, we could try and get rid of them with a percussivant, but that's not something you want to rely on too much. But definitely, we've seen a bit of progress as far as expeditions and the numbers are concerned, and more importantly, we're back to earning money again. So we've been able to get past a disease, as well as get back into a painting cycle again. So overall, I'd say this is a good place to be in. Just a reminder that tomorrow there's no video. Once upon a time, there was a series of videos I do on Tuesdays. Those will be coming back when I have the time to work on them. But for those of you who are here for Cultist Simulator, we'll be back Wednesday with another video. Thank you very much for watching. And once again, if you are noticing something in the videos, quality-wise, audio-wise, visual, basically anything that can be done, I do have a dedicated setup for recording YouTube. Well, not a dedicated like program and sort of set of things that I do, which are dedicated for Cultist Simulator. And again, the drawback is that all of my settings need to be reset, But the good news on it is that this is now an opportunity for me to say, okay, what's working for everyone, and to try and take whatever feedback you may have on board. So please don't be shy if you have something that you'd like to have changed, whether it's audio levels or anything else. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna let you go now. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.